Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing fear-mongering in the context of cannabis. I thought about making this video after reading a recent article from the Thai Examiner, that's thaiexaminer.com. Article is titled, Emergency Room Admissions for Cannabis up 566% as parties call for it to again be criminalized. Okay, couple of things. This notion of recriminalization, I'll get into it in a minute, but I think it's pretty strange. Again, Thai Examiner, thaiexaminer.com, quoting directly, emergency room admissions from marijuana consumption rose by 566%, a rapid change in 2022 with cannabis delisted as an illicit narcotic in June. Last year, 3% of all emergency room admissions to Thai hospitals were linked to cannabis or marijuana ingestion. Couple of key observations here, okay? Last year, when there was 3% ER admissions, it wasn't legal. It was on the narcotics list. People weren't as interested in it. There wasn't all this press field day over it. So quite honestly, it's sort of like saying we had a 500-fold increase from zero, but yeah, there's nowhere to go but up is my only point. You know, yes, there was probably going to be some major societal blowback to a major change such as this. Meanwhile, I really question these 500, these people, I'm not getting too deep into this because, obviously I'm not a medical professional or anything of that nature, but, it's my understanding, it's pretty, you don't die from cannabis consumption. It's just, I hesitate to say it's impossible, but it's my understanding that it's pretty close to virtually impossible. Now, I don't know. There may be new variants or new sort of creations they've come up with out there that might do that. But, there are drugs that will kill you. And then there are, and I shouldn't even use the word drugs, but there are substances out there that will kill you if you take enough of it, And again, this doesn't say deaths are up 566%. It says emergency room admissions. And again, one would presume there would be a massive, probably orders of magnitude increase of emergency room admissions on a product that prior to last year was not something that was on the open market, and now it is. So, I'm not calling out Thai Examiner particularly per se. They're just kind of indicative of, I've seen this in other forums out there on the internet and things, of this kind of fear-mongering surrounding it. I like to think I'm more, I guess full disclosure, try to expose my bias. I like to think I'm more of a pragmatist about it. I truly view this thing as a commodity which could substantially help Thailand's economy, and it hasn't been readily available. And quite honestly, I think the restrictions on this, from any standpoint you look at it, is an artificial restriction. There's the notion of malum in se, malum prohibitum in law. There's a difference between something that is at its core wrong, sort of morally wrong, for lack of a better term. And then there's things that are just wrong because the law says they're wrong. I just don't see a high level, I don't see a major moral argument you can make against this, the developments that have occurred. Now, that being said, and when I say that, that's my main reason for not wanting recriminalization. I don't see how that helps anyone. I think it was truly kind of an absurdity and a travesty that there was anybody sitting around in a jail because of possession or because of, anything having to do with consumption of these products or of this commodity. I just don't think it's warranted, and I don't think it's particularly good for anyone, for the society as a whole, for the economy, for anybody. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us where I've been talking about. We need to regulate this thing, because at the end of the day, it's not just a snap and a click of one's heels to make this illegal again. That would have to be done through new legislation, which I don't see is going to happen in a political context. I definitely don't see where the economy wants it. I definitely think a lot of not to get too deep into the politics, but I know there's something of a pushback politically, and sometimes there are issues that it's kind of easy to be quote unquote conservative on because people just have kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I think in a political context, this is in a sense an outsider's observation. I think being heavily against this, or maybe I should say being in favor of recriminalization, is probably not the right move right now in a political context, because there have been a lot of constituencies that have been positively impacted by this change in legislation. There's a lot of farmers out there who are benefiting from this, a lot of folks in the tourism sector. I mean, people that were really, really worn down by the 2.5 years of shutdown that this country had to go through. Those people are benefiting, and those people are presumably voters, you know, and I just don't see where any politician is going to want to get in front of something that's benefiting people in the economy and people in society in a very meaningful way. I just don't see where that's a real prudent idea to come in and say, no, we're reversing all that. You know, do you really want to be standing on the hustings at the election, you know, and having to explain that? Because I think there is a constituency out there that is pretty happy that things are playing out the way that they are. Now, that said, as I've said before, I think the way to go on this, it's regulation. And it's set up to be regulated. So let's do that. You know, I absolutely agree with the notion that, you know, children have to be kept away from this. You know, this is just like anything. It's like alcohol. You know, underage people cannot consume it. Good. You know, that'd be great. Let's get some regulation so we can do that. You know, but to run around and just kind of fearmonger about all of this, and I've seen multiple reports. Again, I'm not pointing out this one particular news outlet. It just kind of, to me, kind of summed up everything that's been kind of swirling here. So, you know, I could call out multiple other news platforms and things that have been kind of reporting on this in an almost fear-mongering manner. Well, in a fear-mongering manner in some instances. I don't think it's wise politically, but okay, my opinion is kind of irrelevant. That's not why I have this channel. But legally speaking, you know, as a pragmatic way to deal with this, I think regulation is a way better way to go than trying to expend political capital and use up a bunch of time and resources trying to recriminalize something that clearly can have major benefits for Thai society.